The globalists have created a high-tech control grid system that is phased in upgrades that everyone clamors for. And the whole thing is designed to disconnect humans from the land, from reality, where you can't work on your own car, where everything's got surveillance tech built into it, and finally, where everything is automated. And this process is not being done to empower you or because you're demanding it. It is being done so that when they release the controlled bioweapons, they can kill 80 to 90%, that's the public numbers, of the population in an orderly fashion. All the soft killing, the increased cancers, the diabetes, the neurological disorders, the toxins in our food and water, all by design. We even have the documents where they do it. The 10,000% increase in cancer in children and different pediatric cancers. All of that is just a background ambient warm-up. That's why I'm fearless, because there is no future if we don't stop these people. Now, I have seen foreign troops from all over the world. Latin America, Europe, Eastern Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Israel train to take on the American people. I have never seen Russians. And the Russians are very excited about this. And they are training to, quote, take on terrorists at a U.S. military base. Now, we've got the cooperative nugget footage from the early 90s where the general announces down in Louisiana, we are the forces of the New World Order. We've played those clips. It's in my police state films. And then it shows Eastern European former Soviet bloc troops training to take on Americans. And then I went to very drills like that. And people back in, 97, 98, 99, 2000, they thought it was fake. Oh, there's no way those are real Marines training and saying on tape they're training to take on American gun owners. There's no way I see them doing house-to-house gun confiscation drills in Oakland or Hebron, Maryland. Alex must have had a fake aircraft carrier, the Coronado, come up. Of course, it was in the newspapers they were doing the drills, and I showed the news articles, too. Thousands of Marines, foreign troops. My director friend, Rick Linkletter, actually heard people saying that about it because it was such a shocking film, Police Day 2000, and he said, well, number one, he said, I was out in California when that was happening, Alex, and number two, that would cost 25, 30, 40, 50 million to do that. I mean, now it's all admitted, but people couldn't believe that it was happening. And I don't blame them in a way. Russian troops to target terrorists in America as part of drill. It's being reported by the Russian state TV and print, and the Chinese are very excited about it. Of course, our government's given them the Panama Canal. There are Mexican troops in Mexico. There are over 6,000 Chinese government front companies in the U.S. But none of that's a threat, though. It's the militia and returning veterans. The exercises, which will mark the first time the respective countries' two airborne forces have held joint drills on U.S. territory, will revolve around the reconnaissance of imaginary terrorists, camp and raid, and will also involve evacuations of the troops by helicopter. The Russian soldiers will also be given access to U.S. Special Services weapons at Fort Carson. However, the Russian troops won't just be confined to U.S. military base. On May 27th, they'll be out in the local community attending a baseball game in Colorado Springs, just like they have troops at the Kentucky Derby, the Super Bowl, and I told you that was acclamation. Now the Kentucky Derby, I was watching it last year at Waterloo Ice House, eating a chicken fried steak with my wife and children. And my wife goes, the Kentucky Derby, look. And I turn, and it's the end, and people around the field, and they had troops with guns, Berettas, aiming them at people. Why couldn't you have state police when they run on the field do that? No, it had to be Army with guns. And so it's just part of the acclamation. And they admit it's part of the acclamation. They have high school events all over the country now, from New Mexico to Florida, from Texas to New Jersey, where little kids, you always see it on the news, are opening their Hello Kitty bag to be searched by the Army, and then they pat them down. Just, the Army's at the local football game, but the border's wide open. It's Banker Dawn. It's Banker Dawn. It's not Red Dawn. It's Banker Dawn. And again, our own criminal banker-run government tried to start a war in Georgia with the Russians in 4 years ago in '08. So there's lots of backstabbing going on and stuff here as well. But the announcement comes at a time when the Russian actually has troops working in cooperation with China, points out Business Insider Eloise Lee, making reference to one of the largest ever Russian Sino naval drills currently underway in the Yellow Sea, openly for war with the U.S., the Chinese president said 2 months ago. Okay, there's more coming up, and then I'm going to give the number out and get into all the other news, but it's just all part of the twilight zoning of America. A global corporate takeover is happening. The bankers, through their fractional reserve banking, have unlimited fraudulent funding backed up by the nation's tax money. Every nation they control. They play countries off against each other to distract and divert and impoverish. This is all openly stated, and now they're openly announcing their world government, their new Agenda 21, covered by the environmental movement, to shut down industry and individual liberty, private property. It's all being announced. The Rural Council, Pentagon, Homeland Security, FEMA run, openly saying they're going to be on your property, in your face, bossing you around with firearms. When they raid a organic place openly selling apples and cabbages, they draw their firearms. And it's part of showing the jury they have guns out and acting like you're bad and terrorizing you. It's all part of theater. I see articles constantly where innocent people are convicted of things that aren't even law. And they'll just misappropriate and charge them under something else. This is total lawless government. And I just keep repeating that this is a Mayday situation. And people have woken up under Obama. But when Mitt Romney gets in there, which could happen, you are going to see so many conservatives and libertarians just go to sleep. Because Romney and the Democrats will have a fake fight with each other, and the discredited MSNBC will attack Romney. Well, if they're attacking Romney, then he must be good. And he will take on all of these tyrannical actions and expand them. He, again, has admitted that he wants to ban semi-autos. He supports carbon taxes. He supported government-run health care. Now he claims he doesn't support that. But mark my words. And people say, well, then what do we do? Keep Obama in there? Mark Moreno, who's advised Congress and worked with Senator Inhofe, he agrees. He says it would be better for this country if Obama stayed in, because he's hated, his approval rating plunges and plunges, and as he tries to grab dictatorial power, people are going to resist him. But in comes Romney. That's why he's getting more money now than Obama from the big banks. In comes Romney. He'll have a couple years of time to con people and to continue all the events. Now, I got to tell you, personally, I don't find Romney as nasty or, wicked as Obama. But I assure you, I'll learn to loathe him as you will. And all the so-called left will suddenly get mad at torture and secret arrest and warrantless wiretapping if Romney gets in. They'll suddenly get real moral. But they're the ones cheerleading Obama and saying they don't care. I mean, it's such a game. Like, my guy's in there, so I support him. And it's going to be the same thing with Romney that we saw with Obama. And it's such a parlor trick. But it doesn't work now. People wake up in 6 months, not 2 or 3 years now. So time's running out for the globalists. That's why they're trying to just totally overwhelm us right now. Russian troops to target terrorists in America as part of drill. And then we've got NLEO 9. We've got this happening in the European countries. They've got foreign troops in Australia, New Zealand. I was reading, in fact, guys, I forgot to send this to you. I was reading it last night, and my IM crashed, so I didn't send it to you. It was in Sydney Morning Herald. Or no, I follow a link from there to The Age. I can't remember which newspaper I was on. Just type in Australia setting up its own TSA. And it's modeled after it. It's exactly the same, naked body scanners. And it was how they were hiring and running ads. And it's global standardization. And it'll be the airports first. Everybody will get upset. It's designed to get you upset. Then it'll be the highways. Then it'll be the street corners. And then they're going to say, oh, we'll just face scan you now to prove you're good. And they're already announcing that. Oh, the answer is you'll be approved for travel through this traveler card. And people will be like, good, let me have the travel card. But wait, if you read what Homeland Security says, they're going to sell you on the travel card, but you still may be singled out. They're saying there'll be 3 avenues: total groping, strip searching, interrogation. Member of Congress from San Antonio was in mainstream news yesterday saying they know who he is. They single him out. They know he's criticized TSA, so they have the police there to threaten to arrest the congressman. This was in the news yesterday. If he doesn't stand there and let them squeeze and hurt him and well, you call it racking someone. In fact, guys, what congressman was that? His name does not, Canseco. Yeah. I mean, I want him on. I want him on. Ron Paul talked about it. Ventura's talked about it. I mean, they don't do it to everybody. It's like it's certain perverts, usually the supervisors. Look, they're just getting you ready to put their hands on you and disappear you. When Rob Dew got arrested at the G20 peacefully covering things on tape, they came and said, okay, you're with mainstream media, you're not, you're arrested. And they put him out in the rain all night at an army base with troops walking around with police in black uniforms, and they were driving in with a lot of people with bags over their heads. I mean, this is authoritarianism. I told you 15 years ago they wear black masks to intimidate you and to cover their identity. I mean, like executioners do, like the Foxes, the elite police in Mexico have for 70 years. And now we've had police chiefs and manuals go public where they admit, you can just type in police chief admits they wear black masks to intimidate, and they say, yeah, we want to intimidate the public. That's the shift, is they want to intimidate the public. Now, you got more sophisticated people like Chief Art Aceveda in Austin who wants to go back to old-fashioned uniforms, nostalgia, old-fashioned police cars, but push a bunch of police state stuff. So real smiley, real slick, real friendly. Oh, we're here to help you. And maybe he drinks his own Kool-Aid, but he does a lot of unconstitutional stuff. But whether they're in the old-fashioned police uniform or the modern, we're going to intimidate you one, you're not in Kansas, I'm not in Kansas anymore. And now they're sending out their microwave guns to the Tea Parties to intimidate people and their sound cannons. And why? Because they're getting ready to implode the economy. They want a new dark age in their own words. Before I continue with the article about Russian troops to target Americans, before I get into Paul Watson's article at prisonplanet.com and Infowars.com, I just Twittered during the last break an article by an amazing writer there on our site. And I'm always really bad at pronouncing names. I always want to plug this guy, but then I'm always too ignorant and too slow to get one of my crew who knows how to actually pronounce things right to tell me. Because, you know, I've got a lot of gifts, but I'm missing on some things. It's Salman Mohammadi, I believe you pronounce it, writes amazing articles almost every day for us. And it says, the global war on heritage, nationalism, nature, cultures, history, and humanity. Let me read these quotes he begins his articles with. I really like how he does his articles. Once again, prosperous and successful crime goes by the name of virtue. Good men obey the bad. Might is right and fear oppresses law. And that's Seneca the Younger, The Madness of Hercules. Here's another one. Unjust rule never abides continually. That's Seneca the Younger. And they know that. The unjust know. That's why they're trying to use technology, what they call the final revolution, where they say in their own words. So those of us that are like ravenous wolves, those of us that are the beast men, can have our way with the population. And it's in all their literature. We are the true humans. We don't have their morals. We love to dominate and control and stomp and trample and be trampled. And with this technological revolution, the final revolution, we will finally exterminate the original human system and rebuild it in whatever image we want. And if that image means blowing the planet up out of sheer willingness and nihilistic pleasure, then so be it. We will destroy Earth. And I've got top futuristic globalists with those quotes I was paraphrasing in Endgame. Lenin wrote poetry about that. They all talk about, and then we'll blow the Earth up. And you're like, why? And they're like, because you know why. And we're just like, yeah, because you should have cast for the role in The Exorcist. That's why. Because there's something dark manifesting in you. And again, if you don't believe in spiritual entities, whatever, might as well be. I mean, why? Why would Stalin and Lenin, it's been released by the Russians in the last few decades, where the NKVD would come back and say, all right, we've imprisoned or killed half this town. Everyone's submitting to exactly as they're told. What do you want? And Lenin would cry and write, more blood, more terror, kill. And Lenin, that's where in that Clint Eastwood movie, what's the name of the Clint Eastwood movie with the crazy guys on the side of the highway shooting rabbits? He has a trunk load of rabbits, and he's running around crazily with a shotgun shooting the rabbits. It's one that's got Jeff Bridges in it. Jeff Bridges, Clint Eastwood. He'll tell you the name of the movie. It's a great movie. I always thought that was something Clint Eastwood, because he wrote that, if memory serves. I always thought he just made that up, and I was like, man, Clint Eastwood came up with that? No, that's what Lenin would do. Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, yeah, about bank robbers. And that's what Lenin would do. But he would have them deliver little white rabbits to this island, and he would run around shooting them, hacking them, biting them. And of course, he had a syphilitic brain as well, it turned out. But, folks, if you're a new listener, my crew in there will sit there and type in whatever I'm saying. They found mainstream articles about Nero dressing up like a werewolf and raping and murdering children in public in Rome. I'm not making this stuff up. Occasionally we get stuff wrong. We're the first to admit it. And here is a correction, by the way. Thank God it's a correction. I'm glad something, horrible that we're reading about isn't confirmed. Now, the New American did an analysis and found, well, it could be used to block the transport of guns, period, because it allows arbitrarily the pulling of any permit they want in transportation without law or due process. So it is a horrible police state bill, and Joel Skousen is the one that first alerted us to it, that an article that we posted by another writer was not correct. The IRS is not saying outside of law they will confiscate your firearms, though Rahm Emanuel's saying that, and so that's why we gave it credence. It was a misinterpretation, and we corrected that to, well, we put a blurb above the article we'd linked to. I wish that this information was not accurate. I mean, I wish they weren't confirming they're going to ban children doing chores on farms, killing the family farm. That's the backbone of it. Kill children involved learning how to do it, it's over. And next, they've already done this in Europe, parents can't tell their kids to do chores. They want you totally screwed up, ready for the new robotic environment to come in where everything's done for you and you're basically a wirehead in the Matrix, ahead of the super bio releases. It's all public. Rockefeller Foundation. That's how I know all this. And we link to it all the time. We have writers that link to it. It's all happening. Continuing with his article that starts with quotes. Here is perhaps the most striking irony of the life of Antichrist, filled as it is with perverse opponents to the life of the Messiah. The demonic has its own form of incarnation, bestial, not human, and with the object of securing man's subjugation rather than his liberation. His death rather than his life. This preoccupation with domination and death is of the essence of hell. Let me read that again. That was Roland Mushat Fry, God, Man, and Satan, Patterns of Christian Thought and Life in Paradise Lost, Pilgrim's Progress, and the Great Theologians, Princeton University, Princeton, New Jersey, 1960, page 39. Let me read that again to you. Because this is of the essence right here. This is kill, steal, and destroy. You want to know why they do this? Because it's beautiful to them. By the way, Jacobson did find it last week on his own from 6, 7 years ago. We found the Schwarzenegger photos online. We stumbled across of him in Austria. I was wrong, it wasn't Germany. At a art house privately buying art of images of dead babies and saying how beautiful it is. So we'll have to do a news piece on that soon. We found it. Doesn't matter. Look at the New York Times. All the top-selling art now is goblets of pus and maggots and skulls. And you're like, what? There was a dead buzzard in my backyard. I live on a few acres. You know, I was walking, I saw this dead buzzard, and it's still, nothing will eat it. The carrion creatures won't eat it. So it's like a month later, it's still stinking. I mean, why is that beautiful? But see, I'm not totally screwed up. I can look into their mindset, though. That's why sometimes I illustrate their spirit and show you what they think of you. Not so much channeling it, but just giving you a mirror image, a glimpse, a tiny glimpse. I've studied the enemy so long. Careful that you do not look too long into the abyss, at least you become the abyss. And I've got to remember that every day. Here is perhaps the most striking irony of the life of Antichrist. Filled as it is with perverse opponents to the life of the Messiah, the demonic has its own form of incarnation, bestial, not human, and with the object of securing man's subjugation rather than his liberation, his death rather than his life. This preoccupation with domination and death is of the essence of hell. Roland Fry. Then it has quotes, some of my quotes here. Humanity is under attack, declared Alex Jones in December 2008. I know there is a lot of people out there that try to deny the issue we cover here out of fear, he said, because there are real monsters in this world, and they control the heights above us. They introduce the poisons into the food supply, the water we drink, the air we breathe. They are releasing plagues upon the earth. They are drunk on the blood of billions. And it just goes on where he has quote after quote after quote here, a very powerful researcher and writer. Read it at prisonplanet.com and Infowars.com, and we just twittered it out at twitter.com, Real Alex Jones. And if you're not following us there, well, that's my fault because I never really plug it properly. Need to build up the Twitter area. It's a powerful tool while it's still there. We got a bunch of backups, too. We sort of like 5 or 6 of them. I don't know, we got 300, 400, 500,000 followers, but we should combine them all down into one area. All right, we're going to come back from break. I'm going to give the number out, hit a smattering of the news that's coming up, take about 30 minutes of your calls, and then, Rob Dew in studio, it's time to start every day over the next month. You got 4 or 5 days left to get your reporters contest videos in. But we're going to start every day for the next month ahead of announcing it, airing 2, 3, 4, 5 of the entries here on the radio and TV. Sick of the globalist eugenicist control freaks adding poison to your water and laughing as you get sick and die? Start purifying your water with ProPure. My friends, I've done a lot of research, and the best gravity filter out there, bar none, is ProPure, and it's available discounted at Infowars.com. Its filters are silver impregnated to prevent bacterial growth. There's no priming required. It's NSF 42 certified. Optional fluoride filters can reduce fluoride up to 95%. Easy to set up and use. Doesn't require electricity. Purify water from lakes, streams, ponds, and wells. This filter system leaves in beneficial minerals, which is key. Save money by not buying bottled water and avoid BPA that leaches from the plastic. ProPure is the best gravity-fed filter out there. It's what my family uses. Infowars.com already has the lowest price on ProPure. But if you add the promo code WATER at checkout, you get an additional 10% off at Infowars.com. You can also call to order 888-253-3139. Running against the wind of tyranny. We were young and strong, but still running against the wind. But you know, the dawn will come, and we can't just get on our knees and lick the boots of these people. They are trying to bum rush us. They are trying to condition us to just give up. Just give up. I want to hear from you about Russian troops training to take on the American people. I want to hear from the military who've been part of these drills with other countries. I mean, I've got it all on tape in Police State 2000, Police State 2, The Takeover, Police State 3, Total Enslavement, Police State 4, The Rise of FEMA. By the way, I keep meaning to get back to Rob Dew to have him call Paul Watson and have him add the footage that Dew shot in Chicago of troops from 3 different nations training to put us in camps. That's all on video. That was just a year and a half ago. And then they had an unannounced drill the day they left. They later found out they practiced putting people in the sports stadium. They're in Chicago. I'd like to hear from you on that. Also, here's another one. It's every day now that they're caught running prostitution rings, pedophile rings, raping little kids, raping women in the parking lot, stealing money, shipping in drugs, every crime you can imagine, or stripping down naked and announcing they're God, like the Coney guy. TSA people go crazy and say they're God all the time and demand women have sex with them on the spot just because they're on such power trips. I mean, who else wants a job doing that? Unstable loons. We've all run into people that are so confident they're like a total joke. They're not successful. I meet lots of losers that are confident. But it says TSA drug smugglers busted after undercover operation set up with bungling cocaine runner went to wrong terminal. Four current and former Transportation Security Administration employees, that's what they are, have been charged with drug trafficking and bribery. You're trying to cut in on the big papa CIA's money. Ain't going to happen. After a suspected drug courier inspired a sting against them. And it goes on. They were set to bring 10 pounds of cocaine through the security checkpoint in Los Angeles International Airport with the help of a former TSA staff member. Alas for him, he bungled the operation and went to the wrong terminal where he was arrested and another TSA screener found the cocaine. And it just goes on with a whole bunch of them involved in it. What a joke. And they'll be sent to jail for a couple years, learn all the real contacts, come back out and deal drugs to your kids on the streets. Maybe try to stop them. They'll just send a hit team by to kill you. Oh, by the way, I've got another article right here for you. Police launch abusive midnight wake-up calls. WorldNet Daily reports. This has been going on a long time, actually. I remember seeing articles out of Illinois. Listeners mailed me the newspapers like 6, 7 years ago, and since then I couldn't find it. If somebody can, send it to showtips@infowars.com. I know the audience can. I know you live in the town, you'll remember the actual headline, but it said zoning authorities entering homes. And the article described the elderly couple waking up with zoning people with police standing at the foot of their bed at 5:30 a.m. saying, don't worry, don't get out of bed, we're here to check your toothbrushes. And if you have more than 2 toothbrushes, but your house is zoned to have 2 people in it, they fine you. I'm not joking. Well, that's what the cops are doing now. They just come in your house. Ask yourselves, what are you doing in this time of great challenge? What are you doing to unlock minds?